Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am so glad you're here. My name's Kelsey, and I am the host and one of the teachers here at CodeJoy. I'm really excited to do some really cool and fun projects today. We're going to explore some cam mechanisms together, and we're going to learn a little bit about horses. But I'm not here alone. I've also got my co-host here. This is Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how you doing there, Kelsey?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well. My joints are a little frozen at the moment, but I promise I am looking at our streams from Facebook and YouTube, and any questions that are coming in, I'm happy to answer them.
Wonderful. So if you are watching us live from any one of the Make community pages on Facebook or YouTube, even the Periscopes and the Twitches, things like that, if you have a question or a comment that you want to make live, Matt is taking a look at those, and he is going to let us know if anything comes in, right?
That's right.
All right, awesome. So let me introduce you to our project a little bit today so you can see what we are going to be making together. I'm going to go to this view right here. We are going to be investigating cam mechanisms today, and I'm going to take this one apart later so you can see how it works. But it's basically a mechanism that takes rotational energy. I'm spinning this chopstick right here, and it's turning that rotational energy into like up and down energy. And I've made mine out of a Kleenex box and a chopstick. There's a popsicle stick and a cup. We'll take a look at some supplies that you might want to gather. So this is one version that we're going to take a look at. And then this is another version that we're going to take a look at. This cute little guy right here is also the same sort of mechanism, but it's just made out of a cup here. This one moves a little different. We're going to kind of investigate generally how cam mechanisms work so that you can build your own at home. And I thought it would be fun to investigate cam mechanisms, not just as a cam mechanism, but in context of something else. So you might see something in common between this cup here and this cam mechanism over here. And what they have in common is they both have horses in them, because we have a horse with us today too. Everybody say hi, wave hi to my friend Dawn. Hi, Dawn.
Hi.
Who's that next to you?
This is Poco.
Hi, Poco. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Absolutely. Poco is a 24-year-old American quarter horse. He's considered to be a bay in color, and that's because, I don't know if you can see it from there, he has this beautiful red body, but his mane and tail are black. Now, he's not super black right now because he's been outside in the winter all winter, and his mane is a little bleached out. But come summertime, that all the red will kind of go out and it'll be nice and black. Poco also has the only white on his body is right here. He has what's considered a star. You see the star right there on his forehead?
Yeah.
So Poco has a star. So that's a little bit about Poco. Poco's, like I said, he's 24 years old. So he's considered an older horse. But he still is certainly is healthy enough to ride. Poco used to show, so he's done all sorts of what they call Western pleasure, cowboy mounted shooting, halter class. So for years, my girls rode him and took him into the show arena.
So he's done lots of cool things, that Poco man. And I want to encourage anybody out there who's watching or anybody who's here on Zoom, if you have any questions for Dawn about Poco, let us know, because this is live. We can answer those things. So let me give you a couple of quick pointers. So first of all, thank you so much to Family Maker Camp for inviting us here today. And if you make a cam mechanism with us today and want to post it somewhere on social media, you should tag #MakeTogether so that we can find what you did and retweet it and share it with other people. We're CodeJoy. If you want to learn more about us, you can visit our website there. But what I really want to show you is, if you want to make a cam mechanism with us, you should go around and grab some of these supplies. So things like a toilet paper tube, a chopstick, or something similar like a knitting needle or a wooden skewer. We use those a lot in our classes here at CodeJoy. a box, some popsicle sticks, some coins. Now, these are not for spending. These are for weight. We're going to use the metal for weight, and it can help some of our cam mechanisms. You might grab some paper cups, or Lily, and we'll meet Lily a little bit later, but Lily had suggested if you don't have any paper cups around, you might get like a water bottle or something that you can kind of cut the bottom off of. That might work well too. Maybe some straws, some paper clips or metal brads, and those look like this. If you've got those, cool. If not, that's all right. And some scissors and some tape. Now, you don't necessarily need all of these things. These two cam mechanisms work about the same, but they're made of some different stuff. But these supplies here are things that you might want to have on hand as we start to investigate how a cam mechanism works. So let me, for a moment, investigate how a cam mechanism works. So the way a cam and follower works is you've got this shaft, which is the thing that you're spinning. So if I cut back here, the shaft, I'll go here actually. The shaft is this chopstick here. That's the shaft, that's turning. And what you can't see inside of there, but what I'll show you in just a minute, the cam is this round thing in the middle. And we're doing something called an eccentric cam, which means that the cam is round and the place that we poke a hole in it is not the center. So we're poking a hole somewhere near the edge of our cam. And then the follower is what gets moved up and down as that cam turns, and it turns in this like weird circle. The follower gets moved up and down. So let me take mine apart so that you can see it. I'm actually going to take it apart from the side here. I made it so that it could be taken apart. So I'm going to take this, A Horse is Poetry in Motion, off of the front. And I'm going to take this beautiful sunset inspired by the Hamlet of Lions from the back here. And now we've got the basic sort of cam and follower mechanism without all its pretty dress up things. And so I'm going to take this little bit of cardboard off the side so that we can start to see inside of this cam and follower. So I'm going to lift it up a little bit so you can see it, and then I'm going to turn it so you can see the cam is turning and the follower is falling on it there. So the cam is turning and the follower is falling on it. Can you guys see what my cam is made of? Let me go to gallery view. Does anybody see what my cam is made of here? That round thing in the middle, what is that? Do you know what it is, Sigrid? Let's go to you. You want to mute yourself?
A toilet paper tube?
It is. It's a toilet paper tube. Let me take it out of there and show you. So this is actually your first step when you are ready to start making your cam, is you can make a cam and follower that looks like this, kind of your, whatever the shaft is. If I can bring our thing back out here, grab something to be the shaft. I have a chopstick here, and then make your cam. You could make it out of a toilet paper tube that you tape your cam onto, like the side of your toilet paper tube, so that it's going to spin in this weird, as I spin this in place, you can see how this circle is going to kind of move around it. That could be your cam and shaft. Or if we take a look at this one, Matt has a cam and shaft here too. That's made out of a popsicle stick and some rigid cardboard, some very rigid cardboard there. And so as that moves around and around like that, it's moving his follower, which he's made out of a part of a cup. I'm going to take that apart later. We're going to take a look at that. But the first thing that you should do as you are making is start to make your shaft and cam, and you'll want to find a box that can fit in. So like a really skinny box, like a cereal box, might not be the best thing. Something that is sort of square, like a tissue box, or something else that's square like that would be ideal for this situation.
Okay.
So I want to check in with Dawn really quick. And Dawn was going to show us some things. So we were inspired with our cam and follower by a horse and rider and the way they move up and down. So you're actually going to show us how to saddle a horse, right?
Absolutely. So
What's the
I'm just
first
going to,
step?
I'll just start going and I'm talking about it as I'm along the way, and tell me if I need to stop or whatever you need me to do. Okay.
Great.
So this is Poco. So when you go to saddle a horse, the first thing you have to do is brush your horse, because anywhere that you put the saddle, if there's dirt, it can rub a sore on him. So we would brush him down really good. Oh, I did this earlier to save time, to make sure that he was good and clean and ready to go. So he's all brushed and ready.
That
We
actually
would
brings
also,
us, I'm going to pause you there for just a second, Dawn,
uh-huh.
because that actually brings us to our word of the day, which is friction. Does anybody know what friction means? What does it mean when we say friction? Let's go to gallery view and check in on everybody. What is friction? What do you think it is, Lily? What does friction mean?
Friction is when something rubs on something else
Exactly.
and it creates static.
It can create static, it can create heat, or if you're a horse, if there's friction in there, then it can create a saddle sore, which is no good at all. So what we're going to try and do in our cam and follower mechanisms is we're going to try and have as little friction as possible. So at every point where two things touch, we want them to be as smooth as we can. So as you're starting to make your shaft and your cam, start to think about where is that going to rub on other things and how can you reduce the friction of that? So start to work on your cam and shaft, and let's go check in with Dawn again. So she's brushed Poco down so that he doesn't have too much friction and he doesn't get saddle sores. That's great.
The other thing that we would normally do is we would pick up his feet and clean his feet. We did that also outside of the arena because, as you can see, we had rain last night and it's really muddy in here. So his feet are ready to go too. So next thing I'm going to do is spray him with some fly spray, because when you're riding him, you don't want him worrying about flies. So we just hit his legs a little bit.
What's in that fly spray? Is it like
It's
lemon juice? Or?
Yeah, it's a citronella. So it's like an orange or a citronella flake. It's plant-based, so it won't hurt him or me.
Oh, cool.
So just keeps the flies off of him. All right.
I don't like flies on me either, so that makes a lot of sense.
Well, with it being wet out here today, there's a few of them. So, all right. So first thing we're going to do is put the saddle blanket on him. Getting some nice padding. So again, like you were talking about friction, we don't want anything rubbing on him that's going to make him sore. Poco's a little older, so his back sways down a little bit. So we use this nice thick saddle pad versus just a blanket. So.
Do you like, is that just like a regular blanket? Is it quilted? Like what's happening with that blanket?
It's a saddle pad and it's got wool underneath of it. So it's got a really thick wool and it's made just for horses.
It's not just your grandma's quilt.
No, no, you would want one just made for horses.
Okay.
All right. So this is my saddle. I'm gonna throw it up here.
It looks really heavy.
Yes.
You look very strong right now.
They're made out of leather so that they hold up and they're nice and sturdy. It's designed so that it fits on his back just right so that it stays put. Lots of different parts on it. I'll go through that as we're hooking it on doing here.
Yeah. And while you're
go ahead.
Oh, while you're putting that saddle on, I want to check in on our cam and shaft here. So I've cut, instead of using the toilet paper tube for this one, I'm going to try something different this time and use a piece of cardboard that I've cut into a circle. And that is where I'm going to cut a little hole. So I'm going to use my blade to cut a little hole. You could cut an X like that. You could also use your scissors. You could like poke a hole like so. That can be a good way to poke a hole. You could also grab a chopstick or something like that and pop that like that to make a hole. But I want to make a hole that goes all the way through. And then I want to secure that cam onto the shaft. So I need there we go all the way through. And for this cam shaft, I'm going to use a pencil. So I'm going to use a sharpened pencil to get all the way through there. There we go. So this is going to be my cam and follower, and I want that to really stay on there. So I'm actually going to tape this on there as well. Nobody's going to see it. Doesn't have to be pretty, but does have to stay on there. I actually have a friend, some of my co-makers today have written some really interesting things, and I'm wondering how they stayed on. So my friend Lily has written an alpaca. Do you want to describe for us what an alpaca looks like and tell us how you stayed on?
Well, my Mimi was right next to the alpaca, and she was holding on to me, and I was holding on to the alpaca. Yeah. And the alpaca, it's kind of like a camel, except it doesn't have any hops.
Mm-hmm. And they've got really like long ears. Whenever, actually, because of Dawn's daughter did Christy used to work for an alpaca farmer or something? I remember visiting an alpaca farm with you, Dawn.
Yeah, she did a science fair project where they DNA tested a herd of alpacas to find out what their heritage was.
That's right. And now Christy's a veterinarian, so she's loved animals forever, and now she gets to help them, which is really cool. So looks like you're securing the bottom of the saddle on there with a strap, right?
Yes, this is called a cinch strap and a cinch. So this is a nice big thick padded piece of material that goes underneath of him to hold the saddle from going side to side. And this is a cinch strap, and we just cinch it up. Now horses are notorious for what they call sucking in air.
I've heard
so
of that.
He knows I'm going to put this saddle on, and he knows it's going to get snug on him. And so he gets tricky. So he will like take a really big breath and make his belly really big. So I'm just going to kind of cinch it loosely, kind of trick him a little bit so that he thinks it's going to get tight. And then I'll come back and actually tighten it in a few minutes. So
see, I've heard that too. I went to horse camp a couple times when I was a kid, and that was one of the things I remember most was like, you couldn't just put the saddle on. You'd have to put it on, wait for them to like, because they'd go so that their chests were really big, and then you'd have to wait for them to go and then you'd like actually do it tight, because otherwise the saddle would get loose and it could fall off, and that could hurt the horse and it could hurt you too. I think actually we've got a couple comments coming in from our various streams. What do we got, Matt?
That's right. We've got one comment from Alan who says he's fascinated by this. So thank you, Alan. We're fascinated by your fascination. So keep sharing your comments. And Gail was wondering how heavy that saddle is, Dawn.
My saddle probably weighs about 20 pounds. It's a little lighter weight than most because I didn't want to have to put a 50-pound saddle on a horse. My husband's saddle probably weighs close to 40 pounds, really heavy. But that's not going to hurt the horse. The horses can haul 1,000 pounds. So,
wow.
But my saddle's a little lighter weight.
Yeah.
As you notice, this is something to notice. When I'm going around the back side of him, if you'll notice, I stand close to him and I keep my hand on him because he can't see back behind him. And I want him to know that it's me going behind him, not something he should be scared of. So that way, then I don't risk getting kicked. So
that is really important. That's a really important horse tip of just like, horses are pack animals, right? They're not predators. They don't hunt other things. They get hunted. So you've got to signal to your horse that like, hey, I'm part of the pack. It's just me. We're just hanging out. You don't have anything to be worried about, right? So I'm going to check in on our cam and follower here. So I've got two different ways to do a cam, either with a toilet paper tube or with a circle there as well, that you can, again, just put not in the center, close to the outside. And that's going to be the cam. So the next thing you need, if we check in on our diagram here, we've got the cam, we've got the shaft. Now we need like the box that it's going to go in. So you could use a cup, like Matt did with his little cute little horsey person here, right? You could use a cup to put that in, or you could use, I have this is a tissue box here. And you might notice something that I did to one of the reasons I loved using a tissue box for mine was because it already had a hole in the side. So that made it really easy to access. But if you're using a box like, say, a Pop-Tart box like this, you might want to cut off one side of your box, open up one side of your box, because it'll be way easier to work with. And then when we're getting closer to the end, then you can like tape another part of a box in. As you might notice, this is a Frankenbox that I have made here. This is a tissue box with some other box on the side here that I use to kind of close in that hole. But so you'll grab your box, you'll do like this, and then you want your your cam shaft to go all the way through your box and out the other side. So I'm going to cut a hole over here. I'm going to use my blade and cut a hole over there so that my cam and shaft are going to stick all the way through there. So here we go. I'm going all the way through to the back side there. And then my pencil's almost not long enough to do this. I might have to, oh, it'll work. It'll be very, very thin. Oh, but I ran into a problem where my cam is hitting the bottom of my box. So I'm going to move my hole up a little bit. And I might need to make my cam a little bit smaller because it's hitting the side of my box. So I need to cut down my cam a little bit because it's not able to move with my pencil staying in place. There's nowhere I can put it in this box where it doesn't hit the sides. So I'm going to trim down my cam. And while I do that, Aviva has ridden a really interesting animal, I think. I guess when Aviva was smaller, she had big dogs in her house. Do you want to tell us what your dogs' names were and how in the world you rode them?
The names were Goose and Buddha. I was really small when I was a baby, but I still rode them in first grade and kindergarten because they were pretty big dogs.
That is so cool. Goose and Buddha. I love those as names for dogs too. I think that's really cute. Did you have a saddle?
No.
No, you just held on, kind of like Lily did. You just held on for dear life to their fur. Yeah. All right. So now I trimmed my cam down a little smaller. See, I trimmed off some pieces. And now when I put that in there, now it can spin freely. Okay. So that's great. So once you've got your cam and your shaft able to spin inside of your housing here, next we need to make the follower. So the follower part is really simple. Now I spent quite a bit of time drawing this silhouette of a horse and rider. I was really inspired by the feeling of freedom that I think you might have when you're riding a horse. And I would like some of that freedom in my life right now. But so I'm going to just take that off so that we can take a look at how the follower works. So I'm going to, where's the side that's open? Oh, I closed it back up. So I'm just going to take this follower out so that you can see how it's put together. There we go, pull it out. So the follower is really simple. It's just something vertical and something horizontal. And then I taped some stuff for weight down to the bottom here. I taped some quarters down there to give it some weight. So when you make your follower, you can check in on our diagram here, made your cam and your shaft. When you make the follower, that is just something, you know, straight up and down like so. That's going to move up and down as your cam spins around in a weird circle pattern like so. That is going to move your follower up and down. So when you're ready, start making your follower. Now let's check in on Dawn. And Dawn, have you tightened the saddle all the way now?
No, I haven't. I will put his bridle on first. So
Okay.
This is a bridle. So what he has on right now is a halter. So you use the halter just to lead him around, tie him up for things like when you're getting your saddle on. But the bridle is actually it's his steering wheel. And so we're going to slip this on. So the bridle has a couple parts. It's got the, okay, now I'm at a loss for
words.
Whatever this is.
It's hard to do on command.
Yes. So this is a bit. So this goes into his mouth, and it's a piece of metal. And people can think that it looks harsh and hard, but it's not. It actually goes between his teeth. So the horses have teeth in the front and teeth in the back, but they have a gap in here. So it kind of sits in that little gap. And it's not super snug. It just kind of sits in there. They're used to wearing it, and his mouth is super, super sensitive. So when I pull just a little bit on the corner of his mouth, he knows, oh, she wants me to go this way. So that's why we use these. And they like I said, they look harsh, but they're not. So
yeah. Well, we'll watch you put that on, but while we do, and you're doing great, by the way, while we watch you put that on, I'd love to, like, I think about bridles kind of like I think about braces a little bit, different functions, but like a little bit of metal in your mouth, it'll be all right.
Yeah,
So let's see.
absolutely.
Let's check in on you, Don. I want to see how that bridling is going. Yeah.
So I don't know if you can see me or not, but it goes
Yeah,
up
we can.
over his ears.
Uh-huh.
He's kind of turning his head here.
He's like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't want to make that easy. That doesn't sound as fun
So
as
just goes up and over. It's just got one little strap over his ear. Really, basically, it's not super tight anywhere on him. Poco's really well trained. He knows what it is. So, you know, it doesn't have to be anything more than just kind of on there as a suggestion. So,
as a suggestion. I like that. That's
yeah.
great.
Well, riding a horse is definitely a partnership because he's bigger than me, a lot heavier than me. And if he didn't want to cooperate with me, there would be nothing I could do to get him to cooperate with me. So it's definitely a partnership. He knows that we come out here and we do this once in a while, and in return, he gets lots of hay and good grain and well taken care of. So
yeah. About,
all right.
this is you may not know this because I don't know this for my cat, but like do you know about how much he weighs?
Poco's about 1,200 pounds, and we do know that because we have to know how much medication to give him. Like he gets medication like your dogs do, to prevent him from having worms. So we need to know how much he weighs for that purposes. And there are ways to weigh them without putting them on a scale by measuring their belly and their length and doing some math. So
Hey,
comes out. Yeah.
It's good to hear when math comes into play. Looks like we have quite a few questions and comments coming in from social media. Can we check in with you, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. We have quite a few comments coming in, actually. Let's see. Alan really wanted to have llamas, but his wife won't let him, so he's just going to have to live vicariously through Lily's experience for the moment.
With an alpaca.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Lily was on an alpaca.
Alpaca, not a llama.
Not a llama. You're right. Sorry about that, Lily. And lastly, Henry says hello. And so I just wanted to say hello back to Henry.
Hey, Henry. Henry and I have been emailing together. Henry showed me some of the flowers that he and his family made last week. So, hi, Henry. Good to hear from you. Can't wait to see your mechanism today. All right. So as I'm making my follower, I've now got a popsicle stick in a flat piece here. And to give it a little bit of weight to let it fall, this is really lightweight right now. So I went and raided Matt's laundry fund. And I'm going to tape a couple of quarters onto the bottom here. And we've been talking about friction, but I think weight and gravity is just as important when you're making a cam mechanism. So you want that weight to be pretty evenly distributed. So I don't want to I'm kind of putting these offset and I'm putting them on different sides. And now this actually has a little bit more weight so that it can fall. And so the next thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to cut a hole cut a little slit in the top of the box so that my follower can basically, if I were going to x-ray, it would look like this. It would be sitting in there, and we're going to cut a slit in the top of the box here, whatever the top of yours is, so that it's going to move up and down like this. This is the hole we're cutting right now. If we can zoom back in on our diagram. This is the hole we're cutting right now, right here. And if I can show you it on the one that I have finished here, there's this piece that we're going to add later, but I'm going to take that off for now. This is the hole that I've added here. And I cut that hole a little bit bigger than my follower because of friction. I wanted to reduce friction. All right. So it's going to move up and down. It's not hugging it real tight. There's lots of room for it to move. Not too much room, but enough room for it to move. All right. So let me check in with some of our makers now. Can you guys kind of hold up and show us what you're working on, what part of this you're working on right now? I see Aviva, you're kind of working on the cup part on top. That's looking good. What else are you guys working on? Lily, yours is looking great. You've got your your cam and your shaft in there. And do you have your follower made? Do you have that in your hand there? You're working on making it right now, huh? Yep, got it. How about you, Samantha? How's yours turning out? You're working on the follower? Great. Oh my goodness. Let's look at Elise and Kat. Holy buckets. That looks great. Did you just draw that, Kat?
Yes.
Is that going to be what goes on the top of your follower?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm really excited to see how yours turns out. We'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Let's check in on Dawn. So it looks like we've got a saddle. We've got a bridle. Bridle has a bit in there. Does anybody else have any questions for Dawn or Poco while we're paused here for a second? You guys can unmute yourself and ask away if you'd like.
Well, Mustafa says hi.
Oh,
So,
hi, Mustafa. Well, what comes next, Dawn?
Well, I went ahead while you guys were working and I tightened him up because it was time. And I've got my strap on, so I'm ready to ride whenever you guys are. Just let me know.
Oh my goodness. So you're like ready to ride whenever we're ready to see you ride.
Yep, just need to get my camera down and we're ready to
Oh,
go.
that's exciting. Well, hang out there for maybe about 10
Okay.
minutes or so. Yeah, about 10
All right.
minutes, and then we'll check in with you. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, you may have been able to guess this about me, but I was like such a horse girl when I was a kid. Like I was a kid who lived in the suburbs, who was obsessed with horses. And so I didn't get to, I think the first time I rode a horse, I was like 10 or so. And the second time I got to ride a horse was at Dawn's house. We came down to visit you guys, which was really cool. Okay, so let me check in on my cam that I'm making here. So I need to cut my hole on the top, which is what my follower is going to go through. I already have a little hole poked right there from a previous project we did. So I'm just going to build on that. And I'm going to kind of cut two parallel lines right next to each other for my popsicle stick or my follower to go through. There we go. I'm trying to poke a hole. There we go. I might actually clip it from this side here. All right, so if I stick this guy in there now, haha, there we go. I'm gonna pull it all the way up to the top as far as I can. And there's my cam and my follower. And so it kind of relies on gravity a little bit. So as I start to turn my cam, ooh, I am feeling some friction. Let's see why. Why am I feeling friction as I turn this? Oh, I know why. I don't have enough room in here. I need to cut my tape down a little closer so that my follower can get closer to the top of the box. So I need to cut this a little closer like so that it doesn't take up quite so much room inside the box and it can get a little closer. Ooh, looks like we have a comment coming in from the social meds. What's up, Matt?
that's right. We have a few questions coming in. These are for Dawn. Vaso is wondering, does it cost a lot of money to have and provide for a horse? And Sienna is wondering, how do you know how tight to put the saddle on?
Well, as far as cost goes, we are very lucky in that our horses live here with us on the property. So for us, it's just a matter of hay and grain. So it's not as expensive as expensive as it could be if you had to board them someplace and then have them take care of them. So I'm not quite sure how to answer that question. They go through about a 50-pound, we have 5 horses. So between all of them, they go through about a 50-pound bag of feed in a week. That costs us about $20. And you can see back here, I don't know if you can see in the background, I can show you as we're riding. We have 2 great big round hay bale feeders, and they go through 2 bales of hay in a week's time. And each of those bales of hay cost us about $25. So for our 5 horses, they cost us about $75 a week. But if you had to board your horse at some other location, it would cost you for one horse anywhere from $300 to $500 a month. So we're very lucky in that they stay here at our place with us, and we have plenty of room for them.
Yeah.
As far as how tight to make the saddle, it's kind of you learn. But I know he's comfortable if I can put my hand between him and the strap here, and kind of go all the way down with it. That's tight enough for him. Some horses won't like it that tight. Some horses will need it even tighter. So it's an individual horse thing. And you learn your horses and what they like and what's comfortable for them. If he thought this was too tight, he'd be pulling his head around here and he would be biting at it, telling me that it was too tight. So.
And that really speaks back to what you were talking about, that riding a horse is really a relationship, because you've got to learn, you don't just know how to ride one horse and you know how to ride all horses, although I'm sure there's a lot of things they have in common. You've got to learn how to talk to your horse, and then it'll speak English. So, you've got to learn what Poco is saying when he's tossing his head around and chomping at it,
Yeah, they all have personalities. Everybody has dogs and cats and other pets, and each one has a different personality. The same thing with the horses. Some are more laid back, some are more energetic, some want to learn, some don't want to learn. So each one has its own personality. So
yeah. Well, if we can check in on our cam mechanism here, I've got my cam and I've got my follower. So if I can kind of do this, it relies on gravity, but I'll kind of show you how this works. As this turns, this is going to fall, and then this is going to turn again, and then it's going to rise, and then it's going to fall. But look what starts to happen. Even just as I let it go, you can see that fell off to the side. As I try to do this like this, my craft stick is wiggling all over Tarnation, and it won't stay in place. And that is what this last piece on here is for. So I cut the bottom off of a cup, and I cut another slit in that, so that as I turn this thing, it's now got 2 points that it's being held on. It's got the box, and it's got this cup that I've got up here that's kind of stabilizing it in place so it can't wiggle. It's got 2 points, so it has to go up and down in between those 2 points. So that's the last part to add on to our cam. Well, the second to last part, because we got to close in the side of it. But now I'm going to cut off the top of a cup and put that on the top here to stabilize it a little bit. All right. So I think we're almost ready to see you ride, Dawn. I'm very excited. And can you tell us a little bit about like how to mount a horse? There are different ways to mount a horse, right? To get up there.
Well, yeah, basically, again, it's about knowing the horse. Some horses prefer you to saddle from a certain side and to get on from a certain side. Others don't care. So before you ever get on anybody's horse, you need to ask them which side the horse you need to mount from. So Poco wouldn't care which side I got on. I'm going to mount on this side because that's where the camera is. But well, sort of. I'm going to take the camera down and strap it on me here. But so I'll just get to that.
Well, could you show us what it looks like to mount the horse with the camera right here, and then do it again with the camera on you? That would be cool.
Absolutely. So with Poco, and please know this does not hurt him. Horses' manes are not like our hair. It's not as sensitive as ours is. And in fact, their mamas actually pull their baby's hair out, and it releases what are called endorphins, which make him feel really happy. So I'm going to use his hair as a handle to get up on versus grabbing the saddle. Because if I grab the saddle and I put my foot in there, that's going to pull the saddle towards me and make it off center, which is not comfortable for him or me. So I'm going to use his hair instead. I'm going to put my right foot in here, grab his hair, grab the back side of the saddle, and swing my leg over.
Nice.
Just like that.
You made that look really easy.
I've done it a few times. So.
Yeah, this is not your first time. I think that might have been my problem. The last time I rode a horse, I grabbed the horn of the saddle, which is that little part that sticks up, to slide up. And then the whole time I was riding a horse for the next like hour and a half, my saddle kept falling to that side. So I wish that I had learned from you how to mount a horse, because the person who taught me didn't know how to teach me how to do that. So Oh, I think
Right.
we have another question coming in from social media.
Yeah, we do. Well, it's more of a comment. Alan just wanted to let us know that he loves horses because his mother rode horses. She was a barrel racer in the rodeo.
Oh, that's cool. You've done barrel racing, haven't you, Don?
Yes, not just for fun. But yes, we've done barrel racing.
I was like, I think I've seen a picture of you barrel racing. So
Yeah.
let's check in on our mechanism here real quick because I'm about to add the finishing touch, and then we're gonna go for a ride with Dawn. I'm so excited. All right. So the finishing touch here is that I've got my follower. It's gonna go up through this second layer, and I'm just gonna tape this piece of cup here on. And like Lily had pointed out earlier, if you don't have a paper cup, you could use the bottom of a plastic water bottle, whatever you can cut off, and you can give it a little space. I made an error my first time. I cut it too short, and that doesn't give it very much space to stabilize. So I cut it over again and made it a little taller. So now I'm gonna go ahead and tape this on there and then finish putting my cam mechanism together. It looks like Dawn has her camera strapped to her now. Yeah?
I'm working on it.
You're working on it? All right, I'll finish taping on my
Yeah.
upper part of my cam mechanism here. And while Dawn's getting situated, does anybody have any questions about the cam mechanism or about horses or about Poco? I think Kat and Elise, you guys were, oh yeah, I'd love to check in on yours. So that became more than just a horse. What did you turn yours into? That's so cool.
It's a
Got a
unicorn.
unicorn horn. It's got some Pegasus wings. Oh, I love that. What's that made out of? Is that construction paper?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. That's beautiful, Kat. I love it so much. All right. It looks like we're on the back of a horse.
Yep.
Oh, Lily
Okay.
had a quick question. Let's check in with Lily and see if Lily had a quick question. Do you want to unmute Lily? Or there we go. We unmuted you. Go ahead.
What happens if what's it called? What happens if this is too heavy?
If it's too heavy, if it's too heavy, I guess it might bend the cam. Like if it's too heavy for your cam, it might start to bend the cam. But really, if it's too heavy, too light is usually the problem because you want to give it enough weight that it can move around. I don't know if you guys can see inside there. You need gravity to get it to work. But if this is too heavy, it probably wouldn't be too heavy. It'd probably be too light. That's the problem that we encounter the most is if your follower won't fall, it has to fall down when it's not being pushed up on. So what makes you think that yours is too heavy, Lily? What's it doing that's making you think that?
The cam in the back of it, it stays down and it won't go up. It just stops. It stops right here.
You're having trouble turning it to make the bigger side of the cam turn up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you put some coins on the bottom of your follower? You might take some of them off. Okay, cool. Try that. Thanks for helping me understand that problem a little bit better. Looks like we're going on a horse ride. Let's do this.
Yeah. So as you can see out here, it rained really bad last night. So our arena's really muddy. So we're just going to kind of go slow because we don't want him to slip and fall. So I have the reins in my hand. Hopefully you can see those. And this is how I steer him because he's what's considered neck rein. So if I lean the rein on his neck a little bit, just a little, let him know, then he turns that direction. See how cool that is?
Yeah, that's
and if I do it the other way, he turns the other way.
So you don't have to pull on his mouth really hard or anything. You just kind of lay the reins on his neck and he's like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely. And then he can read my body language. Horses are so sensitive that they can tell when a fly lands on their back. So me being up here, he knows which direction I'm looking. He can feel which direction my body wants him to go. So along with laying the rein over, if I look the direction I want him to go, he can feel my body turning that way. So
Oh my
he
God.
knows, hey, we want to go that direction.
Yeah. Now you said he's an older horse and he's a really kind of gentle horse. Have you ridden horses that are, not so gentle?
Oh, I wouldn't call them not so gentle, as more energetic. Let's call them energetic. So, if you can see out that direction, there's a paint horse standing along the fence there. His name is Shooter, and Shooter is 14 years old, and Shooter has the energy of a 2-year-old. And absolutely, walking like this is not something he does well. He would rather be out here running around with me. So, and as you can see here, Poco knows where we saddle and unsaddle. So he's come back over here and parked himself and said, no, we're done. I'm done. So
We did it.
we're going to ask him to go again. So,
Right, Mom? We did it. We're done now, right?
yeah, I walked all the way around for you. Now let's be done. So
Right. Now we should be done.
the mud's a little hard to walk in, even for a horse. It's they got to pick their feet up and think about where they're stepping. So
Yeah.
but
That's so funny that you mentioned Shooter too, because the last time I was at your house, I was, oh, hello, Shooter. Hi, pretty.
yeah.
Last time I was at your house, he had just been born.
Yeah.
He was
See
only
Shooter grabbing. Whoa. Shooter just took the bridle off. Hold on.
Oh, good.
Whoa, buddy. Whoa.
Well,
So,
we'll
let me get off here.
Yeah.
That's Shooter for you. So
Yeah.
Shooter unhalters people. He unbridles. I should have known better than to get too close. He's super smart. He can open gates. So
Oh, so what did he take off there? You don't have to show us.
He just grabbed the entire bridle and pulled it right off of Boco's head.
Oh my gosh.
So
You
so
handled that really well.
My steering wheel came off.
Oh no.
They're animals. Like I said, you never know. So
Yeah. You gotta,
buddy.
that's something when you and I were talking about this, you were like, it'll be great. Also, they're live animals. So, we'll see kind of thing.
Yeah.
We got a comment from YouTube saying, wow.
Any other comments, Matt?
Yes, actually one more comment saying that Shooter was helping out his equestrian brethren.
Yes, he was. Very much so.
It's like, hey, brother, I see you struggling with that bridle. Let me help you out. So did you get it back on okay?
Oh yeah. When we go places, we cannot let Shooter be tied up next to anybody else because he will let them go. So he would literally. So
he sounds very ornery.
He super smart. He's a lot of fun because he's super smart. But you never know what he's gonna do.
So when a horse is really smart, other than causing problems and getting into trouble, what else is cool about having a super smart horse or a really active horse?
I think because he's smart, he's super friendly. So he always wants to be doing whatever you're doing. He wants to be a part of things. When I ask him to do things, he learns really fast. So he's willing to come out here and learn new things and do new things. He doesn't drag his feet about it. Sometimes I wish he would drag his feet a little bit, but no, he's a lot of fun. But I think I was explaining to Kelsey earlier this week that it's spring, so it's cool here. Everybody's coming out of winter. They have lots and lots of energy. So Shooter would not have made a good demonstration today because it would have just been me constantly having to get him to do what I needed him to do because he'd want to be doing something else. So.
Yeah. It's sort of like, I can identify with that. Like, it's nice. Let's
Yeah.
go this way. Let's do that.
Yeah.
No, okay. Okay, let's do this thing. No, okay, let's do this thing. I feel that too. So right
We
now,
also have,
oh, go
ahead.
ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, if you can see out in the field over there, we also have a mini. So she's not a pony and she's not a baby. She is actually a miniature horse. So like dogs and cats, you have different sized dogs and cats. You also have different sized horses. So she's a mini, and that's as big as she's gonna get. And I use her to give lessons for smaller children. So she's a really good girl.
That's fun. Did you guys used to do the cart pulling thing with your mini horse too?
No, we've never had a cart, but she is trained to pull a cart.
Oh, cool. I think we had a couple other questions coming in from social medias.
Excellent. Yes, we have quite a few from social media right now, actually.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we got here? So I was corrected on my vocabulary. I used the word equestrian when I should have used the word equine,
Oh, yeah.
which is a new word for me. So even robots learn something here in with Family Maker Camp. And Katie says two of her favorite things are horses and making. So this is the perfect show for her right now.
Perfection. I'm so glad you're here then, Katie.
And Vaso is commenting on how when she was little, she rode a horse without a saddle, and it really, really hurt.
Oh, so it sounds like the saddle is sort of for people and sort of for horses too. I've got my cam mechanism finished here, and it's a little bit, I feel some friction in there. I feel some places where it's like difficult for me to
I have
turn.
a question.
Oh, yeah.
Or a comment.
Sure. I
It's
think
a
that's
comment, but I put some things on the bottom to make it heavier.
I see
And
a
it
coin. What
turns
are these
out
other two things?
um
They're little glass bead things.
yeah.
Smart.
But it turns out if you like put it on its side, the other way, and it doesn't want to go on its side, it goes back up.
Yeah, so you made kind of like one of those like a Bobo doll kind of thing where it's since it's weighted on the bottom,
Yeah.
it stand up. That's smart. That's cool. I like that. So I'd love to check in with you folks too. You've seen kind of how my cam mechanism has turned out. I feel some friction in it. I've got some troubleshooting to do to figure out where it's getting stuck. I got to open up the side and kind of figure that out a little bit. Oh, there we go. Now it's working pretty good. Hey, what's up? We're riding horses. That's working out. All right. Okay. But I'd love to check in with you guys. How are you guys' mechanisms going? How's yours going? Let's check in with Samantha. I want to kind of come and look up at yours here, Samantha. How's yours going? Yeah, I love that little pony. Nice. That's awesome, Samantha. Nice job. How about you? Does anybody else want to show off how theirs is at the moment? Let's look at Aviva's. Let's see yours, Aviva. Yeah, you made a little background, a little sunset. And as you turn your cam, you're like, let me get this situated here. What did you make your follower out of? It doesn't look like a craft stick. Is that some like chipboard cardboard in there? Your follower part, where mine's a craft stick. What's yours made out of? That's like holding the girl up, the girl and the horse.
It's a popsicle.
Oh, it is a popsicle stick. Oh, it's a wide one. That's nice. So as you turn it, does it go up and down? There we go. Yeah, there we go. Moved a little bit up and down. That's great, Aviva. Let me ask you guys, if we go back to gallery view, what do you like or what are you liking about how your project is turning out right now? Are you loving the background? Are you loving how the horse is turning out? Are you liking how it's moving? What are you liking about your projects right now? Does anybody want to?
I like how my unicorn is coming out.
Let's see your unicorn. We're gonna zoom in on that a little bit. Oh, I like how that's turning out too. Were you inspired by Kat?
Yeah.
I like that. Good job inspiring, Kat. That looks cool, Lily. I'm excited about it. Anybody else want to share anything that they're liking about how theirs is turning out right now? Did you guys add some color down there, Elise and Kat? Looks like you guys might have added some color to your follower. Can you tell us about what's happening there?
What's the purple? What's the sparkle you added? Can you tell?
What is it?
It's magic coming out when he flies.
It's magic coming out when it flies. That's great. I love glittery magic stuff all the time. My my old roommate did not allow glitter in the house because it kind of gets everywhere. I don't live with them anymore, and I get to put glitter wherever I want. It's an exciting time. Those are so exciting, you guys. I can't wait to see how they turn out. We've got just a couple minutes left before our stream ends. I kind of can't believe it's already been an hour. I'd love to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to Dawn. Thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us and doing all kinds of things with animals live.
You're welcome.
You are a brave
fun.
and knowledgeable person, and I'm so glad that you're my friend.
Ooh. Nothing brave about it. Just gotta get out and give it a try.
That's right. That's right.
But the one thing I'm not doing that all of you kids should do, if you get on a horse and you've not ridden and you don't know the horse, please wear a helmet. Wear a helmet. I'm not wearing a helmet because I know Poco. I'm here at my house. Very familiar with the setting and the surroundings, but my grandkids don't ride without a helmet.
That is really good advice.
So, wear a helmet.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Good advice.
You're welcome.
Great, like how to. Just really, really cool to see you in your element there. Does anybody else have any comments that they want to make or any final questions for Dawn or for me? Or do you want to show you? Did you get yours working, Samantha? You want to show it off before we head out? Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's a nice horse.
That's a good looking horse. I love it. I love that motion. Well, let's check in. Let's do our final, our last thing that we always do, which is that we tell people how to connect, because we're far apart, but we're all doing some similar and exciting things. So how to connect. So you can connect with CodeJoy on our website here. If you liked what you saw us doing today and you want to help us do it more, we're doing everything we are for Family Maker Camp for free. So it would be great if you could help us out with our virtual tip jar, or another great way to help us out is on social media. On Twitter, you can tag me at Kelsey Connects. You can tag Matt at MG Chilbert. And you can also tag CodeJoy, hashtag CodeJoy. And you should definitely tag hashtag Make Together. That's the Family Maker Camp hashtag. All the things that they're doing have that hashtag on them there. And if you have any questions about anything, you can feel free to email me, Kelsey at CodeJoy.edu. Especially if you'd like to join our class on Thursday, we're going to be doing some socio-emotional breathing exercises and fusing that with coding. So if you want to join us for that on Thursday, you can find our classes on our website. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, stay curious, everybody. Bye.